Welcome to the channel. Gotta feel this. This is your first time here. Like, subscribe. If you're a returning viewer, I appreciate the love. You hear me? But the short answer to the question of the day is no. First, we're gonna delve into the night, and then I'm gonna tell you why I think it didn't live up to the hype. I missed the Andy Cruz fight. I'm very disappointed in that because I wanted to see how, he panned out. Didn't really know his opponent, so I'm not too bummed about it. David Morrell, very disappointed in his performance before I ended up finding out that he moved up in weight. So I give him a bit of a pass on that for the simple fact I know how difficult that can be. With David Benavidez moving up in weight, he looked it pretty good, not as menacing as he did at 168, but he looked it substantially good at 175. David Morrell, some people felt like that fight could have went either way. He looked it horrible, whatever. So Jared Anderson. I never really thought Jared Anderson should have been at heavyweight in the first place, especially against that guy. That guy was huge. He made Jared Anderson look like a light heavyweight or a fucking cruiserweight. Definitely not a heavyweight. And I'm super disappointed in Jared Anderson for the simple fact of, I feel like he needs a mental break or something. I think he needs to reevaluate if this is something that he really wants to do. And the reason why I say that is because whenever I see a combat sport athlete cry, at either at the height of their career, in the middle of their career, not just starting out like a Floyd Mayweather, Shakur Stevenson. When they cried, it was more like a motivation to feed their hunger. But for these guys to cry like Deontay Wilder and Jared Anderson, I can't think of the other guys, but I've seen a couple guys cry, during their career, and they just weren't the same. So I think he needs to reevaluate that, with some of the things he said, like he wasn't listening to his coach. He's not worried about nothing. He's just trying to get home to his daughter. Maybe it could have been that he was away in Saudi Arabia. I don't know. But, when he got knocked down that second time, he wanted to get straight up, but his legs wouldn't let him. So he had to wait, take his time, then get up. And what confused me was he went straight at this guy. And that's when the fight ended shortly after that. So it was just like, what was he out there doing? To openly say you want to listen to your coaches is crazy. But at least he was honest. The next fight, Ruiz versus the other big baby. Great fight. Andy Ruiz, he's made a believer out of me. I thought, this guy was, his best was behind him, After the Joshua fight, I seen an interview where he said he partied a lot and didn't take it serious. Once you become world champion, I guess that he thought that was the end of the road for him. That's not how it goes. You got to work even harder after that point. And I think he lost another fight after that. Some people think Big Baby was on the juice. Well, I don't know yet. I haven't looked into that much. But Andy Ruiz, man, with that hand, the way it looked, and for Shakur not to throw a punch I think Shakur threw about less than 10 left hands when his hand wasn't nowhere near as bad as Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz's hand was decimated, obliterated, and that guy fought to the end. And to show that true grit and, for him to fight on like that, I'm backing him every time. I don't give a goddamn, man, because, that's putting it all on the line at its finest. And I was very impressed with that. Just that alone. Just for him to continue and, try to will his will his way through. I think a rematch is, because he was beating him up until like the third round, and he said he hurt his hand in the fifth. So I think a rematch is very well warranted. To see a fully healthy Ruiz the whole fight. As far as a draw, eh, you know, I think Big Baby won, but I'm not. Everybody else says it's a robbery. Uh, you know, I'm glad it was a draw. After seeing his hand, him for him to continue on and really put forth an effort that he did, I can see a draw. So, because Big Baby, his punching style was just telegraph. He just was trying to land that big left hand the whole fight. You could see it coming from a mile away, and he never really landed anything effective. Whenever Ruiz would catch him, he would land effective shots. No glancing blows when Ruiz would connect with commitment and stuff like that. Next fight I want to get to is the Rayo versus Pitbull Cruz. Rayo, I did not know. Mind you, I haven't seen many of his fights, but if I would have seen many of his fights, I don't see why guys pick Pitbull. Pitbull is very one dimensional. That's nothing new. But I think part of the problem for Pitbull was Rayo's height. I think that played the big difference in it because a lot of those punches that Pitbull was throwing was hitting Rayo in the shoulders and the chest. They weren't like they were coming just close enough to probably hit him in the face. And I think one of the things I was saying during the fight, I said if Rayo could keep that up for the whole fight, he can win, and he did. So he looked like Tank. He kept turning him and spinning him, and simple, easy fight. Do I think Pitbull should get the criticism that he's getting? No, because we know he's one-dimensional. We know, but that style is very effective when you know how to use it. Sean Porter, Mike Tyson, that style can be very effective in boxing. It's hard to knock him out because he keeps that chin tucked in so tight. But next fight I want to get into is Crawford Mazemov. I think that besides David Morrell, I think that was the most disappointing fight out of the whole card, and it was the main event. And being as though it was the main event, that's what makes this card lose a lot of points for me. I think it could have went either. I think it either could have been a draw or Terrence Crawford. I think they had to give Crawford the win, but I feel like it was a draw. It was a very evenly match fight. Terrence didn't look spectacular. Majimov didn't look spectacular. Nobody looked good or better. Couple moments in between, but there was nothing there where I felt somebody won. That was the fight that I really think should have been a draw. Big Baby could have won. But now I'm going to tell you why I don't believe that fight, that card lived up to the hype. They said it was the greatest card of all time. Partly the main event, I already said that, is partly the reason that lost a lot of points for me on that being the greatest card of all time. And I think the fact of the stars on the card didn't, Pitbull, he didn't, live up to expectations or exceed expectations. David Morrell, he was the big name on that side. Didn't really live up to the expectation. Didn't look great. Went to a unanimous decision. Most people feel like the other guy got robbed. Jared Anderson, being the big name, gets pummeled by this guy nobody even knows. All the big name guys had lackluster performances. I think Andy Ruiz got the bigger name than Big Baby, and he broken hand in consideration. He didn't really look so good. Andy Cruz is the only guy with the substantial name who knocked the guy out, who the fight went in his favor. Um, Exclusively, like, it went in his favor. There's no question about it. So that's the reason why I feel like the card didn't live up to the hype of the greatest card of all time. Yeah, it had a lot of good names on there, but I feel like it was one-sided good name. You knew one guy, not the other, and the guys that we did know didn't live up to expectations. So it's like, you know, I take it with a grain of salt. Um, it was a good card. The event was great. It was it was worth watching. I can say that much. But the fights that went to the decision was the ones we felt, shouldn't. Maybe the Crawford Majimov, maybe somebody could have got knocked down or something. But Neva in the pit bull fight, that's one fight we just thought would, be done with early. Um, but all in all, that's the reason why I think uh, the card didn't live up to the hype. Let me know what you think. Comment uh, your opinions or your thoughts on what you thought I'm saying, or what you got to add. Like, subscribe, comment, all the YouTube shit. And yeah, man, I'm out. I mean, card wasn't the greatest card of all time. They was hyping it up to be. Didn't even sell 100,000 pay-per-views, I heard. So, you know, we'll see next time.